bought her and spent. We started talking.
Did she put? I wish she put that up because I guarantee you that the fucking price that $20,000 was probably around what he said that he would pay.
Right, yeah.
I can guarantee it because like that's the only way you come up with a figure like that. That's such an odd figure, you know.
Yeah,
like that. It's like I hate to keep harping on it, but
no, I
it's
get
such
it.
I
know.
Figure, though.
I definitely.
And then he had the spreadsheet,
and then the spreadsheet. So my thing is, you had to been 3 years. You had to been making this spreadsheet from the beginning.
Yeah.
Because I can't even tell you what I spent on what a year ago.
Yeah, I know that.
Listen, my thing is this, man. If you got it to where you spending this kind of money on a woman, like you shouldn't care about whatever she can give to you.
Yeah,
like
because clearly you got it. So, Miss Marie, I have to ask: if you were put in that situation, and a guy came and said, "Can I borrow $20K? Because I lost my job to help pay for my mortgage." What would you have done?
I told him I don't have it. Like, what?
$20K is a lot.
For your mortgage?
Yeah, for your mortgage. He wanted $20K for his mortgage.
I don't think mansions roll like that when it comes to mortgage.
That's what I'm saying.
They
don't even pay them at the same rate where it's month to month like us. Like when you're talking about something that's like millions of dollars, it's like, yo, you have to already have that type of established money.
Right.
You know, like there's no way that this dude is paying like I can't see nowhere that's $20,000 a month and they just like that they just do it like a regular fucking lease. Like there's no way.
Yeah, that definitely was it.
There's no way. When you buy that kind of shit, like you'd have that kind of money for it and it's already paid for. Like they probably first off, rich people don't pay for nothing month to month. Rich people pay yearly for everything.
That is
they
true.
They pay everything for the entire year. They don't pay month to month. So ain't no goddamn way that if it's that high that you even paying it like that. Because that's dumb. Like
Dante said, "Hey bestie," he first said, "Why would he even spend $20K on a female nowadays?" It wasn't. It was. I think it was spread out over their 3 years that they were together. So clearly, it must have been one of those he was doing lavish dates and trying to seem like he was this big person.
He probably was spending a lot on purses and shoes and jewelry and shit.
And things like that. And Dante said he was living above his means. He definitely sounds like...
Oh, no, he wasn't living above his means. I think he just was really testing that chick. And that's all. That's what that really sounds like.
That he was just testing her?
Because, like, that's such a specific amount that you really was just trying to ask her for what you didn't spend on her. And it's like, why?
Why? It was pointless. I will say, I don't think she was wrong. I think her approach was wrong.
I don't even know if it's that. Because it's like, man, again, because it's like, that's the only way I could really perceive it is like that. Somebody's testing you or something like that. And it's like, don't, like, come on now, man. Like, $20,000.
$20,000 for mortgage.
You need to explain to me what you need this for. There's no way your mortgage is $20,000.
Yeah.
No way.
And then the fact that he was able to, after he broke up with her, paid it. It definitely just sounds like you just wanted to see if she had your back because you were spending all this money. But that's not the way to go. That's how fucking kids do shit like that.
Yeah.
We're adults. It was, and it's funny because in my mind, it's like, I bet you somebody got in his ear and was like, "Oh, you spending all that money on that bitch? You need to see what she doing for you." Because in her post, that was one of the things she said. He never asked me for anything. So it was like, somebody must have said something.
Yeah.
Or you just that shitty of a person.
See, I feel like it's more the former. Like, somebody definitely probably said something to do. Because it's like, he ain't smart about this test that he tried to pull. Like,
no,
it's
not
like,
at all.
Who goes for the gusto and asks for... like...
And when you're dating somebody.
I hate
$20K and you're dating somebody. I mean, I get it. 3 years, though. But $20K. The reason I say I feel like he's a shitty person because that spreadsheet really bothered me.
Right.
Because it's like you really made a spreadsheet for 3 years of everything you spent on this woman. That's a shitty person. That means you taking it and you throwing it back in their face.
Yeah.
Oh, I did this for you. That's not how friendships, Anything in life works.
Yeah.
That also
period.
mean, and this is weird, cause like I don't know about y'all and like just dating relationships, but it's like that mean he also hella pocket watching this chick because it's like he definitely was just trying to see how much that she could like spend on him or like how much that she could like give or whatever and shit like that, and it's just like that. First off, you should know whether or not somebody can feasibly give you
$20,000. Yes.
Like,
and then my thing is, if you was gonna do something like that, you could have did something smaller. Go out to dinner. Say, hey, I left my wallet at the house. If you just want to see if she got your bag,
yeah, that's a way better thing.
Way better thing. But to ask her for $20K for your mortgage, $20K, that was crazy.
For a mortgage, get the fuck out of here, man.
No, it definitely was not a good test. It was definitely a stupid test. But then I still feel like we're past that stage in life.
Yeah.
Because if you make a $20K, clearly he is not in his 20s.
He could be. Or he could just be a fucking wealthy
individual.
It's weird how many rich kids.
Yeah, it is a lot of rich kids out there. But it's definitely one of those. We're past that point in the stage in life where you're testing people. If you got to test an individual, you don't need to be with them.
Yeah.
That's just like how they say about when you gotta look through somebody's phone, or you gotta put up cameras, or you gotta follow. If you gotta do all that, why are you with them?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not gonna sit here and act like I'm a golden child.
Oh.
I've done it, and I sit back now and be like, why did I do that? Because like, what's the saying? What's done in the dark comes to light, or like curiosity kills the cat.
Yes.
Those are all facts.
Yeah.
Because when you go digging and you look, that's when you find out what you was looking for.
Mm-hmm.
And now you hurt. And then it's like, was that really worth it?
It never is.
It never is. I definitely sit back and I rethink some of the things I've done in relationships and be like, why the fuck did I do that? That was stupid. What kind of job does she have for him to think she has $20K sitting around?
That's what I'm saying. It's like, do you know the kind of money that you have to be pulling in to have $20,000 liquid to give to somebody? Like, that's not like, because $20,000 is like, man, yo, that's not chump change. Think about if somebody was just come up and ask you for $20 right now. It's just like, you got to think about all the math that's going to go through your head before you give them that $20.
I got to make sure, can I give this $20? Am I going to be able to be okay till they give it back? Do I got gas?
To run to the bank?
Food? Like, do I need to go to the bank? No one keeps cash on them. No one keeps cash on them nowadays. So it's like, that was definitely a crazy request.
Yeah.
On trying to test the individual. I wanted to hear your opinion on it, because it's like that shit as a man. Like, how do y'all feel as a man? Someone asking you for $20K dating for 3 years.
Idiot. Like that's a fucking idiot. Yeah. Because it's like, again, man, it's just like that's no very small amount of money. Like, even if you rich, it's like that's one of those like. There's so many people you would ask for $20,000 before you fucking went to your paramour. Yeah. For $20,000 fucking dollars. That sounds fucking ludicrous.
It does sound. Hell, I'm sitting here right now, and it's like I couldn't even think of who I could call if I wanted to borrow $1,000. Now I can't even think of somebody I could call to just be like, "Hey, let me borrow $500 real quick."
Listen,
they gonna have so many questions.
Banks. You gotta go to how many banks, loan places, other kind of shit before you even to think of going to people. Yeah. Like,
you're gonna try to exacerbate everything else around you before you even go to somebody, because you know if you go into whoever you're going to, it's gonna be so many questions.
You will start cutting down shit in your life. You're like, you know what? I don't need to get this shit right now. Like,
let me stop eating at McDonald's every day. Let me stop going everywhere.
I ain't gonna buy no weed till I can get this. Yeah. Like, it's shit like that. Yeah. It's like you so many steps before you go to your fucking partner.
Anybody.
For $20,000.
And even with just asking for anything, you know how people are. If they give you the money, it's coming with a lecture. Yeah. Oh, you need to get your life together. Yeah. What you doing that you ain't got it? Why? What's going on?
How did you blow this much money where you need $20,000? Yeah.
Make it make sense.
None of it makes sense.
None of it makes sense. I want
$20,000. If you have it to where you got it, you have assets that you can liquidate for $20,000 fucking dollars.
$20,000.
I don't believe it. I wouldn't believe it. Like, I would not believe. Like, listen, I know wealthy people, and it's like there's no way they gonna need to go to somebody for $20,000. Like, maybe if they needed it for some outside shit that they don't want to use their own money for, and they like investors or some shit like that, and that's a whole nother fucking subject.
It is.
Like, that's a whole nother subject.
And you know what's crazy is what I thought about too. Is like, if you got a mortgage, refinance your house.
That part.
And I did, and it's like I don't have a house. Yeah, definitely. I don't have a house. I don't know much about mortgages, but I do know you can refinance your mortgage. I know that much to make it lower if you don't have the money.
You can do that, but I'm sorry. It's just like I don't see somebody having a $20,000 a month a year mortgage, and then you telling me that you got to explain how you just what did you miss the payment and then you just
for $20,000
for $20,000.
That's a lot. And that's you're right. Dante said he asked his dad years ago for $100, and it came with a 30-minute lecture, and he still didn't get the money. People will lecture anything over $20. You getting a lecture?
Yeah.
Anything over $20. Well, what you doing with yourself? What happened to your paycheck? You not working? What's going on? It is coming with a whole lecture. So to ask somebody for $20,000, she didn't ask enough questions.
Yeah.
I would have said, let me see the mortgage payment. Let me see your statement. Something. You got to show me something for me to give you $20,000.
How you plan on paying this back if you get $20,000?
$20,000. When you paying it back?
Like, I don't get it. It's like, I know, and I get it. I know that people with more money, money moves in different ways. But it's like, if you at that type of level, $20,000 is nothing to be able to just like liquidize something or whatever kind of way you need to get it. But like, $200,000, then I'd be like, all right, you might be tied up for that.
But
like,
$20,000,
if you have it to where you need $20,000, then you should have had that shit before that.
Way before that. And clearly, if you were able to spend, I can't remember the amount he said he spent on her, but it was some thousands. Then you probably got a nice couple cars over there that you can liquidate.
That's what I'm saying.
It's something in that house. You better go pawn it. Pawn shops are still around.
Okay, pawn some jewelry.
Jewelry, something. Pawn some shoes, because I'm sure he probably wearing red bottoms and all of that stuff.
Yeah.
You better sell some clothes. What's it, Postmates?
Man, listen here. What's her name? What's the girl name?
She never said her name.
Doesn't matter. Listen here, baby girl. You the winner. You really winning out here. You winning, cause I like that shit. You lucked out, cause this nigga's on some fuck shit.
Yeah,
he's trying to see what you can do for him.
Yeah, definitely. He was trying to. He was testing her.
Yeah, cause like that, get that shit out of here.
Man. That was just ridiculous. And you guys definitely hit the comments. Let us hear about what you have to say about that topic, cause that was one hell of a topic. Yeah. You know, so I want to get in, catch you guys up to where we are. You know, I always have stood by, marriage is hard work. And they always say your first 5 years is the hardest. And thanks, D. They say your first 5 years is the hardest. And I feel it. You know, we've had our ups and downs. And as we hit, it'll be 3 years in July. And it's been a learning experience. Mm-hmm. I really think so. Because no matter how long you've been with somebody, you still have to learn them. Like Miss Marie, 20 years, you still learning your husband?
Hell yeah.
I mean, you still gotta learn yourself, though.
You evolve in life.
Mm-hmm.
And when you get married, it's a union. And it's a union of two different people. No matter how much you have in common, y'all still are two different people, two different walks of life, two different views of life.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I've learned that in our first few years of being married. It's like you grew up completely different from me.
Mm-hmm.
Not even that the fact that we was just in different cities, because I hate when people say that shit. I hate when be like, oh, I grew up in Cleveland, you grew up in the suburbs. That really doesn't matter. I wanted to denounce that myth, because no matter where you live at, everybody got the same struggles. They struggle just differently.
Same struggles, and I mean, just everything exists everywhere. Like everything is, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. It's like everything is everywhere, man. Especially when it's like with black people is just like to a baseline. It's like we all go through so much of the same exact things that it's like to make that distinction of like, oh, you grew up over there. It's like only if you grew up so vastly different that it's like you grew up on a horse farm or something. Then it's like, oh no, you grew up different.
Yeah, like that, like Amish people. Yeah, that's different. But
or even like super wealth. Yeah, like people who like live out in those areas like Kirtland or somewhere where it's like they have boarding schools. Like a dude, you meet a black dude that went to a boarding school, he's different, okay? Because he grew up very different. Like
very different. Very different. I can understand that, but I hate when people be like, "Oh, you grew up in the suburbs. You don't know what my life was like." It was no different.
Like, listen, man, I get it. You might not have had the same dangers of everything. Yeah, it's like still lived under the same shit that we had to.
The exact same shit. Our lights got cut off. We had struggle meals. We went through the same things. Hell, I've met people that live in the hood that was better growing up than me.
Oh, for sure did.
Man.
Oh, I for sure did. Man. But I mean, it's like just talking of dudes who drug dealers, stuff like that. It's like, oh, them kids live great. Like, listen, I remembered 8th grade, friend of mine, Antonio McNeezer. It's like, you still out here, dog, man? Like, what's up, bro? But I remember I saw this dude. He was just sitting in the classroom one day, just counting money. Like, he had just a bunch of money in his pocket.
What grade was y'all in?
8th grade.
8th grade? And he was sitting counting money?
Sitting in the classroom, counting money. Teacher goes up to him and then tells him to put it away. And he doesn't. And then she kicks him out of the class. As he walking out the classroom, just turns like, man, you kicking me out for this? And just throws the money in the classroom. And I was just like, that was the first time I ever seen that up close. Like,
somebody just throw some money?
Yeah, like, and I mean just a handful of money. It wasn't like a little bit of money. Like, this kid threw out a handful of money.
Was ones?
No, like, these was like all kind of, because this is dirty money. So it's like, these is like 20s, 10s, 20s, 100s, like shit like that.
Holy shit.
Yeah, so it's like, that was the first time seeing that. And it's just like, hey, yeah, I'm sure that kid lives very well. Like, man.
Yeah, I'm sure he probably does. Yeah, he definitely made it rain on the teacher. I don't know if the teacher should have felt some type of way.
I would have felt so disrespectful.
Would you have felt
I would have felt like Big Boy in ATL. That was so disrespectful. You just threw money at me. That was so disrespectful.
He probably threw about as much as her paycheck was at her. Probably
right there though, like.
An 8th grader. Yeah, I think I'd have felt some type of way a little 8th grade. How old are you in the 8th grade?
13.
13. And a 13-year-old just threw possibly your whole paycheck at you. I'd have to rethink my life. What is going on?
I was about to throw out dates, but I don't want to do that.
Yeah. What happened to the money? Did y'all go pick it up? Because I swear I'd have got up. Hey, let me just pick this up.
I just threw this for no reason. I pulled the smooth, just like, oh, let me just go.
Yeah,
whatever was in my vicinity, I just grabbed something like that. Because it's like, we was cool. That was my nigga. Like, he wouldn't have cared if I just grabbed, like, well, since you don't care, I'm going to just. Other people ran in, of course, because we're kids. Like,
we're kids.
Everybody else ran in.
I'd have been like, well,
oh, shit. Everybody scrambling for it. The teacher definitely tried to collect all that shit back and give it back to him. Because it was just one of those, like, out of principle where it's just like, no, bitch, there ain't nobody about to, you're not about to be clamoring for your money, little nigga. Like, take your shit back.
That was her feeling some type of way.
Yeah, like, she definitely tried to get it all back. I doubt that she got it all back, but like, because I know it was some people that pocketed it, did not keep the knot.
You're right. Dante said he probably made that back in 2 days.
Oh, he probably made it back that day.
That day. And
his dad was a kingpin in East Cleveland.
Oh, like, so he probably made that, he got it back from his dad in an hour or some shit. Oh my God.
He probably went home and got that shit right back.
Right back. And dad was probably like, oh, fuck her, here. Oh my God. Yeah. He was definitely living with me. And at 13, I don't even think I had $10 in my pocket.
Listen, it was one of those, like, it didn't even register in my mind that he just had how much money he had right there until the teacher said something. Because it's like, you don't even think that somebody just gonna have that kind of money right next to you in the middle of class. Not in East Cleveland. Like, no. Man, we sitting in a trailer because they tore down our school over off Superior. Like, ain't no way you thinking in your mind a 13-year-old just gonna be just leafing through $1,000 next to you. Like,
and it's crazy because if I was sitting next to him, I probably, hey man, let me hold something. You just sitting here counting his money. Let me, hey, buy me lunch, something. As a kid, but as an adult, I would have definitely felt some type of way. Like, why do you have this much money? Why are your parents letting you come to school with this much money?
Oh yeah, listen.
What are you doing with it?
He was that kid that got in trouble every day for like wearing stuff that he wasn't supposed to. But it's like he was wearing like, it was Pop Jabos and all that stuff at the time. And it's like, kid had money, but it's like, hey man, you can't wear all that shit. Like you're not supposed to be wearing jeans. Like I don't care how much they cost. Like, I don't care. Like he was that guy.
That guy.
Yeah.
As
he was a dope dealer's kid that knew it.
I swear, it's so funny. Just a side note, you always see that dope dealer, especially back when we were growing up, where they were more flashy. Less people getting police really pulling them over and shit.
Yeah.
I used to always be like, God damn, I wish I could figure out how to sell weed or dope or whatever, because y'all out here just the low riders with the 30-inch rims and all of that.
Oh, it's not that hard. Selling ain't that hard. Selling is the easy part. It's the rest of the shit that's hard. Like,
yeah, that's why I know it wasn't. Definitely wasn't the life for me. Cause I'd fuck some shit up, and then the connect about to kill me or something. Because I'm miscounting and all of this stuff, or just giving my friends stuff for free. And so I definitely knew it wasn't the life for me.
Or they test you. Like when you really get up high levels and that shit, those people they know that people gonna snitch. They know that stuff gonna get caught by police. So like they'll send out loads of stuff just to get police to be looking at that, so they can sneak this. This is what they really want to load. They really want to go to wherever. Like, oh yeah, they write off a lot of product just out of sheer like, I know police gonna take this shit. I know that they looking into us about this, so they gonna get this fucking load. Like all of that. Like they'll know all of that beforehand. Like. So it's like they know, like, hey, you know what? Let me see how loyal this dude is. Like, let me just send him with this, and then like I know this is gonna get caught. So you know what? I'm gonna send him with this and see how he handle this. Like, oh yeah, they run a lot of tests too.
See, I'm definitely not street smart enough to do all of that. It's like I keep it real. I'm book smart. I ain't got no street savvy shit.
Power. You didn't see all that shit.
Power
see
how
they be doing that
I was
shit.
about to, when you said that about redirecting them, the first thing I thought of was the first or the second Bad Boys, where they was staking out with Gabrielle Union, and the dude had one boat going one way because he knew the police was watching him.
Yeah.
And he had another boat really going to where, or I think it was a casket he was sending drugs through. Yeah. It definitely made me think about that.
Yeah.
Even though I love the mob life, it's like I definitely know I ain't cut out for that, because I ain't cut out to go to prison.
Because it's also you gotta be super cutthroat. Because it's like, man, think about, we was just talking about Griselda. It's like how many husbands she ran through.
Oh my God! Did you watch her documentary?
No.
Oh my God! That woman, she was a beast as a child.
Really?
Yeah. She caught her first juvenile case. I think it was like 14. She killed. She beat somebody to a pulp. She was a beast. It's so funny because it's like she was married 3 times.
Where's she from? Colombia?
Yeah, she's from Colombia. She was married 3 times and killed all 3 of them. What?
Colombia is a rough fucking place. Like, I think that sometimes when we be talking about like even our worst parts of America, I don't think they got shit on old school Colombia.
No,
From back in them days. From like, cause what you talking about, like the 60s, 70s, 80s when she was a kid coming up? Cause like the Cocaine Cowboys was the 70s.
I think she was like around in the 70s, and
so like you talking about 50s, 40s when she was a kid, and it's like you talking about in this era in Colombia where there was like no laws, like, and I mean like I like not to veer too far off, but it's like I mean it's the serial killers that I listen to their stories about. And it's like there's a dude, the Beast of the Andes from Colombia, and this guy killed like 300-400 children, and because nobody in Colombia, nobody could catch him because they just did not care about these children. And it's like there were multiple people, so like
Colombia is clearly rough. It's so funny because I want to tie it into back to relationships. 3 marriages,
3. You
killed all of them. That 4th guy, what made you want to date her after she done killed 3 of her? She was that 4th guy met her while
balls on that guy.
He met her while she was in prison. They were pen pals. She turned over her organization to him. He started making millions within 4 months, and then they were dating. And she actually tried to assassinate him. And he got away. And it was like, what made you her of all people? Because it's like by the end, she had a name. People knew who she was.
Yeah.
Is times that hard?
Apparently, because I couldn't imagine.
If you haven't watched the Netflix series, definitely check it out because she was one boss of a woman.
Yeah.
One boss. One of many women that was up there at the top. It's not many, but she was one of them.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a good shot. But it
So
was.
do you consider her a serial killer? Like, I always wonder that with those kind of people, like with infamous people like Pablo Escobar, or you know, like what's his name, that Guzman. Jesus Christ! His son got caught. El Chapo.
Oh yeah.
You know, like I always wonder, is just like, hey man, these people are just about as heinous as like Dahmer and them motherfuckers. Like as far as killing people, they even kill people in way more brutal ways.
Yeah.
And it's like they've ordered it. It's like what category do you put them in? Like, especially if it's like they've done a lot enough by their own hand and order shit. It's like, I'm sure they're not in league with serial killers, but they're something above it. But it's like, what do you call that? Like, that's just a thought ponder for another day. Like,
yeah, that's definitely something to think about.
Yeah.
So one of the things I learned, and as we go into our third year, is definitely you got to tune the noise out of other people.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
You know, we had our situation, and I'm very, again, being transparent. You know, we ended up losing our house, and we've been separated and trying to get back on our feet. And everybody has an opinion.
Always.
Everybody has an opinion.
But you know what, man? You keep listening to other people. That's how you end up asking your partner for $20,000.
Yeah, and when you're married, I always tell people, when you're married, it's not like dating. You can't just shit go wrong. You can't just get up and walk away. It was a reason they came out with that saying. It's cheaper to keep her. Cheaper to keep them. I won't say her because it go both ways. Because divorce ain't cheap. But it's like, I feel like, especially in this day and age, people get married because the thought of it. Oh, this is nice. I want to get married. I always want to, but not realizing the work that goes into it. And with marriage, there's more factors in this situation than when you're dating. Because when you're married, you know, everything is combined. Your kids, your finances, your emotions, all of that is combined.
Yeah.
Whereas when you dating, it's like you still separate, but y'all together. If that makes sense.
You can easily still just walk away.
Yeah.
Like, you can move to another town, and then the relation, the whole thing is dead. It's over. Like, it's like your identity still. It's like everything's still tied together.
Yes.
And you know, just to take this back to the cheaper to keep her thing, it's funny that you say that, because it's like, man, ladies, they all know that it's like, as things become more equal, that alimony and shit like that goes both ways.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And it's like, I don't know if you ever realize this, but it's a funny thing. It's like, you ever realize that show that you love watching all the time, Phineas and Ferb, main villain of it, Doofenshmirtz. You know how he got all of his money, right?
Yeah, when he got divorced from alimony. He talks about it in the show, alimony.
All the time.
Hell, Mary J. Blige, when she got divorced from, what was his name, Keaton?
Who cares about his name?
Yeah.
Freeloader.
Who gives a shit about his name?
She when they divorced, he took so much of her money that she was broke and had to go on tour to survive. And it was like, nowadays it's not like how it was back in the day where it was just like the woman gets the alimony. No, it go both sides.
Yeah.
And if you got a great lawyer, you can get all of it.
Yeah.
It go both ways. So it's like, it's not as easy to walk away anymore. And it's like, I think about my grandma. She was married 6 times. It's a lot of times to be married. That's a lot of last names.
I'm not changing it.
I'm not.
I will get. If I was the one, I'd give it 2. After that, I'm keeping my last name. Like, I'm not changing that shit no more. Like, I'm not changing that shit again. Like,
No.
I did it twice. I'm not doing it again.
I don't, in this day and age.
I need to hyphenate.
Man, I'm not, in this day and age.
Because I'm not changing my goddamn idea again.
I don't even, in this day and age, I don't even want to get, if me and you divorce, I'm done with marriage.
Yeah.
And then I'm even more done with marriage after watching Love, Stalker, Killer. Did you watch that?
No.
Girl.
But yeah, I feel you.
Girl.
If I divorce,
that's it.
I'm done.
After
all this damn time.
That's one of those, the Lover, Stalker, Killer. If you ain't seen it, check that shit out on Netflix.
Yes,
okay,
check it out. Lover, Stalker, Killer. It is a true story.
I can tell you the whole story right now. You still ain't gonna see none of them twists and shit coming. Like I swear,
I had to watch it twice.
After I told her
he told me the whole story.
Whole story.
I watched it. It was texting him like, "Holy, she did this."
Right.
He met a woman, and just to give a cliff notes of it, he met a woman on a dating site.
No. You gotta set the setting a little bit.
Okay.
Dudes just got out of a relationship after 12 years. He was with a woman for 12 years, got out of a relationship. He was out living his bachelor life. He was dating on Plenty of Fish. He came across a woman. They dated for a couple weeks. He knew that it wouldn't work out because she wanted something much more long term than he did.
Man, yes. I remember Plenty of Fish. I remember.
So after he moved on, he dated another woman. Things started getting weird with her because she started began to get real attached after, like, they had an agreement that this is where we are, yada yada yada.
Right.
And she starts sending just the most crazy erratic text messages all day for years. Like, they couldn't find her, they couldn't get in touch with her, they couldn't and she was sending all of this stuff for years, and then
but they couldn't find her in person.
Wow. Couldn't figure out how she was doing this shit. They didn't know what the hell happened to her. But then it's just like, come to find out.
Don't tell the story.
I ain't gonna tell the story. Come to find out, she wasn't the one sending the messages.
No.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. It was so many twists and turns.
So many.
I don't even know. I read an updated article. And again, for everybody that's just logging on, we talking about Lover, Stalker, Killer. Go watch it on Netflix. I read an article that he is actually dating again.
What?
I don't think... This woman tortured him for 4 years. I had sent my best friend Dante an article. Over those 4 years, she sent him 50,000 text messages, 18,000 emails. I don't think I'd want to do anything after that.
I don't know how he ain't go back to his baby mama, because I think that would have been, if that was an option, I think that would be the only place I feel safe. Like, this is the only person I feel safe with. Like, everybody else... Come to find out, everybody else I go to is psychos.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to go all the way back to this. You know what? Yeah. We going to make this shit work.
Like, Miss Marie, it was so bad. After 2 years of it, he moved to a whole nother state.
And it still ain't
wow.
And she still found him there.
And not just him. She was sending messages to his family, to, like, his parents, to exes, like, sending all kinds of messages.
Oh, my God.
After watching that, it's like... Shit, I don't know. I don't know how he's dating.
Yeah.
Listen. And it's like, I knew the dating pool was nasty as got shit in it and piss, but that was a whole nother.
Yeah, that part.
That was a whole nother can of tea. It was funny because Kiera watched it and she asked me, she was like, oh my God, she is crazy. And I was like, she not crazy. That's not even a word to use for her. I'm like, I don't even think it's a word for her. We just gonna say her name, Liz. Because it's like, crazy is one thing. She was a whole nother something.
Yeah.
Right.
I remember I told my best friend, I said, listen, she deserves to do life in prison and die in there.
Yeah, for real.
I love to talk to her because it's like, hey, I need to know. I got some questions. I need to do some pointers because you are amazing.
Right.
You are amazing. Not to give the whole story away, but I think the biggest thing that I really was on was like, she was able to kill this chick, and they still ain't found a body. Still ain't found a body. The police, Miss Marie, searched that car 2 times. Didn't find an ounce of blood. They just so happened to go back, pulled up the seat, didn't find anything. Opened the seat cushion, didn't find anything. Pulled a layer back of the seat cushion, and that's when they found blood. I would like to know, what did you clean this car with?
Yeah, for real.
Because blood is traceable.
Listen, to give you the depth of how much these dudes, how much time and effort went into catching this person. This man had to create an algorithm to figure out where the messages were coming from. Like, and that takes years. Yeah, like, he had to create an algorithm to figure out where the message was coming from. And then the dude had did he have thyroid cancer or something?
What? No, he ended up getting an aneurysm, like a brain aneurysm or something. It was a mass on his brain.
Yeah, he had a mass, a tumor.
Yeah.
Dear God.
And he was like, and they was like, hey, we need to do surgery. And he was like, hey, no, fuck that. Not until we catch it, whoever. Not until we get this shit solved.
Yeah.
So it's like
that's the depth, and you're right. I will stop telling the show now. So you're right. Okay.
It don't even matter because
no matter
as soon as you see it all pieced together,
yeah,
you still gonna be baffled at how this shit was able to happen.
Yeah,
it's astounding.
It was crazy, and I me and you've had this conversation. I've told her, and Miss Marie, I don't know, if you ever had that thought process, but I told her, I'm not divorcing you. We can get legally separated. But I'm not divorcing you. Because one, this the petty in me. Ain't nobody else having this last name. Fuck that shit. You stuck with me.
Okay.
Ain't nobody else having this last name. It's like, no. We can and I've seen people that have done it, where they get legally separated. They were separated for 5-6 years. Work out whatever they was going through. And then they get back together and be married for the rest of their lives. It's like, I feel like my firm believer, I always tell people, is I didn't get married to get divorced.
Right.
I didn't spend all that money to get divorced, to spend even more money. It was like we made a conscious decision to be here. So it's like, you have to work it out. Mm-hmm. It was like, even though we do have different vices, that was one of the things our grandparents and all of them did. It was like, you don't think Miss Betty Joe didn't know Uncle Lou was out there cheating with Miss Fasttail from the church?
Right.
They knew.
Right.
But they worked it out. And it's like, I think that's what the problem is with this day and age. It's like everybody just wants to easy out.
But I mean, it's because the option is always there.
Yeah.
Like, that's what I say about option. It's just it's double edged. Where it's oh, we have more options, but it's it's also still something that holds us back, to where it's just that option keep you from wanting to stick with your relationship that you in now.
Yeah.
You want to get away from it because you have the option to go out and then you can search for somebody again. You can
easily
find something again.
Search for somebody. That comes double back. Miss Marie, my doctor told me the other day. He's from South Africa. Shout out to Dr. B. Dr. Baczynski, anybody know him? He went to South Africa, came across this guy that was going to South Africa. They was at the airport together. He started talking to him. Dude told him that he was going to see this woman in South Africa that he met off of Amazon. And I was like, wait, you met her off of Amazon? When the fuck did Amazon become a dating site?
I don't think I would have been able to get to the rest of that story with that dude because I would have had so many questions about the Amazon thing. I would have been wait. Time.
Amazon?
How did the conversation start? How did you? Because I've never had a conversation with somebody on Amazon ever.
Never. Have you ever had a conversation with somebody on Amazon, Miss Marie?
No, never.
I didn't even know you could have stuff like that.
I wouldn't.
I did know, and it was crazy because it took Kendra to actually break it down at the birthday dinner, where she was like, listen, they have it to where when people leave reviews or people that like the same things that you are buying on Amazon, you can chat with them. And I said, is that where life is going, where you are chatting with people off of Amazon? Well, for one, I shop on Amazon. Let me not get it twisted. Shout out. I love Amazon.
Also, let's not knock it, though. We didn't, there wasn't a day and age where people was just putting desperate-ass ads in newspapers to any fucking body. Just hey, look, I'm single. I'm desperate, y'all. What's up?
Yeah.
In the newspaper.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's come on, hey.
I remember the Craigslist ads.
This before that. This is just straight up, just like any asshole.
The dating section in the Plain Dealer.
Yeah.
I remember those. That just showed how old I was. Shit, the dating section in the Plain Dealer.
People used to go to a place to sit in a room to make little videotapes that used to go on a tape and send to other people, would buy those tapes to review and see, you know what, I'm going to call this person. It's like,
Yeah.
is that any? That's not. I don't think that. I think the Amazon might be low key a step up.
Yeah,
Like,
I mean, it definitely
at
is.
least you got similar interests with this
The
person.
Scene magazine and Backpage. Yeah, you're right. I remember those. I could even take it back to just AOL chat when AOL first came out.
Listen, I don't think anything trumps the dating videos.
The dating videos
school,
got it. Could you imagine
80s dating videos?
Could you imagine trying to date that way? Where you gotta get all dressed up, load up your camera to sit there to talk to yourself. You ain't even talking to nobody.
You gotta chat yourself up. Like, I can't do that. I don't know why I cannot do that. It is so hard for me to just, well, I'm this guy. I'm Skip. I can do this. It's like, no, it's fucking weird.
It is. And it's like, I think I'm definitely like with everything. It's like, I think about it like, yeah, I do remember dialing. That's funny. I do remember the, what was that?
Chat lines.
The chat lines. Yes,
yeah.
I do remember the chat lines. I did that once. That was a horrible thing, dude. Catfished me through the phone. But it was like, I do remember that.
Hot locals.
I never got a chance to witness any of that. My introduction to people meeting and stuff, I was never a part of it, but of course I was there to witness. I worked at the Bobby Jones, I was production for Bobby Jones Gospel Network, but that was Black Planet.
Yeah. Oh my God, Black Planet.
Black
oh
Planet.
My God. I remember Black Planet.
Yeah.
I remember all of that.
Yeah.
And you know what's crazy is those were so much better than these sites now, because really, when you think about it, Tinder and Facebook dating and all of that, it's just people looking to have sex.
Yeah.
That's all it is. At least you knew in Black Planet and Plenty of Fish and it was another one. MySpace.
Plenty of Fish is totally just a bang.
Well, I was there at the beginning when it first started. But it was like, all of those were literally just people trying to find somebody to talk to.
Yep.
And be a friend.
Here's the thing. That's just the nature of anything.
Yeah.
Like, everything gets... Just like this guy found a chick off of fucking Amazon. It's like, I'm a million. Just like they said that they had the child sex ring through Wayfair with the fucking, you buy the certain things and shit like that.
Wow.
You know, like, it's one of those, like, everything eventually gets turned into some kind of weird sex thing.
Into something. And the thing is, when you have to start over with somebody, you have to start over with their baggage.
Yeah.
And their luggage.
Yeah.
And their trauma.
Yeah.
It's like, why go through that when you already know the person you're with baggage and luggage and trauma?
Yeah.
It's like, at least I know.
Because that starting over shit is for the birds.
It's for the birds.
Yeah, it really is. That's a lot of energy and time.
Time.
So much energy getting to know somebody over again.
Man.
Deciding if you're going to deal with this habit or not. Yeah.
Or just wasting your life. I remember
when I got time for that.
Ain't nobody got time for that. I remember when I met you. The first thing I said to him was, listen, I just wasted 7 years of my life with my ex. I can't do that again.
See, yeah.
I was like, we either dating to marriage or we just going to stay friends. But I was like, I refuse to waste another 7 years.
Yeah.
I can't. I'm not. Listen, I just turned 40 2 weeks ago. And it's like, I got to, thank you. Yes. It was hard for me. I definitely battled with that, but that's another show we're going to talk about.
Yeah.
That's another show we're going to talk about. Because leading up to 40 was really hard for me, especially 40 and my daughter turned 18. But I want to get some women here to be able to talk about that with, because unfortunately Skip's not there yet.
You did good work though.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And you know what? As a mom, sometimes you forget that, because you get consumed with everything you're doing, with life, for me, with marriage, business, work. And I forget to just take a second and pat myself on the back.
Yeah, come on now, because look, she could be doing anything. Anywhere else. On some bullshit.
Listen, I said, I really have to keep telling myself that as we get to graduation in 2 months. Hey, she is 18. Yes. No babies. Not sexually active.
Yes.
Didn't get suspended from school.
Yes.
None of that.
Yes.
Got accepted to college early.
Listen.
Pre-med. I said, I need to stop for a second. Man, look what I had. Look what I did.
You've been through a lot.
A lot. And I'm going to bring my daughter on. I want to have her talk. We've been through a lot. Mm-hmm. From it just being me and her. Yeah. To getting our lights cut off. Yeah. To being homeless and homeless shelters, domestic violence. Yeah. To just being where we at now.
See?
I'm like, the trials and tribulations. And she is a great kid. Yeah. And it's like, I look at her and it's like, oh, I really did that.
Yeah, because she could have went and wanted to go in any other direction and gave you the hardest of times.
The hardest times.
Look at God.
I hear stories. She tell me about her other friends or classmates that got pregnant early and all of this stuff. And it's just like, oh no, I've got to relish in this moment.
Yeah.
I did this. Am I scared to send her out into this world? Fuck yeah. I am terrified.
Yeah.
I've had so many people tell me, because I'm thinking about moving down to Georgia.
Yeah.
And I've had so many people tell me, don't cut the cord. Let her go.
Whatever.
Listen, we're in, social media has made this day and age completely different.
Yeah.
I listen, I know I've raised her well. I know she has good judgment. She proved that.
Yeah.
And then she has a great role model in Skip that has showed her what kind of guy to date. Mm-hmm. What guys are supposed to do. Mm-hmm. It was funny. We were walking the other day. I don't know if you paid attention to her statement she made, where we were walking down the sidewalk and she switched sides and was like, "I'm not supposed to be on that side."
Oh no, I heard that. I just said because I had asked her about it. I was like, "You didn't have to be weird about it." I mean, that was the thing. I didn't care that she did that. I knew why she did it. I was like, "Why did you make it so weird, though?" Like,
but it was like when she did it, I had to stop for a minute and be like, "She's learning. Mm-hmm. Is she seeing what you're teaching her and hearing her, and this is what she knows to expect?" Woman's not supposed to walk near close to the street. It's like,
it was just weird because she was in front of me and then walked all the way around all of us to go, and it was like you could have just slid over. Like,
yeah,
that's all. It was weird. Simple. I was like, why did you just do all that?
I definitely want to make sure I celebrate in that. But it was like I love that she learned that, because it's like, again, even with me doing this show and being married, I'm still teaching her, so that she knows what to look for and where to get to. And it's like, wish I was one of those things that I had got growing up. And I had this conversation with my cousin this morning. I said, I think we forget when we get in relationships that people come in and however they were raised, that any childhood trauma, it still carries over as an adult.
Right, absolutely.
And as Black people, we tend to suppress it and think we're fine. Mm-hmm. And it's self-revelation on myself. I was telling her, I said, listen, I know because my father wasn't there, that it made me and the younger Kiana seek love with the wrong type of guys. Mm-hmm. And it was like, seeing my mom get beat by my dad was how it equaled to where I ended up in a domestic violence relationship for 4 years and didn't think nothing was wrong with it. I literally remember that telling the judge, I didn't think nothing was wrong with it until I felt like my life was in danger. I was like, hell, he hit me, I hit him back. We in here fighting. Yeah. And it was like a realization that shit's not okay. And it's like when you're married, these are the things that you have to touch on, because that's the only way you'll be able to grow in a proper direction with each other. It's like, stop. Like the conversation we had in the car about men, where you were like, the society makes it to where men can't express their emotions and say, oh, they're hurt or they feel some type of way about something. We've got to break that stereotype, because this is why we're getting these men out here that the way they are. Yeah. Or this is the reason why suicide rates are so much higher. Yeah. We've got to stop that narrative.
It goes a lot further. It goes into healing. You can't go as far back as probably need be or necessary or even able to. Mm-hmm. But, the healing starts from at least the mom when she's around, if she's still around and stuff. In some instances they're not. But it normally starts from there. Like you said, with you seeing your mom go through stuff, and what you ended up seeking was a dad figure in slight without even realizing,
in the wrong people.
Yes, absolutely.
In the wrong people.
Absolutely.
See, just to speak on that, one of the things that's like, with just like dudes expressing emotion and shit like that is like understanding where that comes from and the why and the how, because it's like, it's so much more deep-seated than just, like, society putting that on you. It's like, nah, these are more of, like, biological type triggers in your own mind that you don't even subconsciously have control over.
Yeah.
And it's like, these are biases that have been just, like, putting us through evolution to where it's just like, oh no, man, it was much more prevalent for dudes throughout the majority of our history to mask those emotions, because it's like you needed to be emotionless in order to be able to do the things that you need to do in order to survive.
Yeah, for
You know,
sure.
like,
You spoke on that earlier.
So, so it's like that's something that like you inherently just do out of a knee jerk reflex. You don't even think about doing it.
No.
And it's like one of the things that's like it's hard to get across is that it's like it's a duality thing. It's like the minute that a woman brings up, well, a man should do, you don't know what all that entails.
No.
And it's like that entails all of that. Like you, everything that you don't want, it entails all of that too. It's like, like, because you know what, you want me to suck it up and to do this and to do that. Well, you know what, I have to stuff all these emotions and shit down so I can do it.
Yeah.
And it's like, which one do you want? Do you want me to be closed off and like unemotional just because it's like that's what I need to do in order to get by day to day? Or do you want me to be able to be like open and honest and be like, hey man, I'm gonna do things more out of my emotions.
Yeah, and Dante, that is a great. He said one of the main reasons why men don't express is because a lot of women will throw it back in their face in an argument or in something.
Exactly like that.
And
well, a man's supposed to do.
Yeah,
men do this, and it's like.
And here's my thing, and that's and when you say that, it definitely was one of the things I have been thinking about. It's like when women say, well, a man is supposed to do this. Here's the thing. If a man doesn't have somebody there to show them how to be a man, you can't expect them to automatically know how to do it. And it's like, in this day and age, it's so common that you could be a great dad, not in the home, but not realizing that, honestly, you need that dad in that home. Mm-hmm. Those kids need that everyday individual there, because then those kids grow up and they don't know how to be a man in a home. They can be a man doing everything else, or a woman. I don't even want to say just a man in everything else, but they don't know how to do it in a home. And then these men and women get in marriages, and they don't know how to be in that marriage because they didn't have an example to look at.
Yeah, they don't have enough esteem in themselves to even pass along to somebody else.
Yeah. And most of the time, what we do is we repeat what we saw our parents do. Yeah. So if you see your parents not in the home, or you see your parents out in the streets, then as an individual on both sides, you can't expect this person to not be that person. Mm-hmm. Because that's all they know. Until they're willing to learn and have that revelation. Mm-hmm. Because it took me a long time to be able to get to that point. To be able to realize, like, hey, the reason I'm like this is because, hey, my father wasn't there. Or, my mom was working a lot. Mm-hmm. So this is how I was just, it's like putting a machine together. Mm-hmm. It's like I'm just this well-oiled machine this way. And now I'm in this relationship, or I'm in this marriage, or I'm out in this dating pool, and you're expecting me to be another way. And I don't know how to do it. And a lot of us don't like to take the time to understand that and then help that person and grow with them. And it's like, even with us, realizing that a lot of things, the way you grew up, plays a factor on how you look at life. Mm-hmm. It was like just to talk about, like, my birthday. It was like, I remember when we started talking about my birthday. At first, I was completely against the party. And it was like one of the statements you had made was like, I don't like parties, no way. And, we had that discussion about it. And it's always, I know it's not what you like, but you also have to remember, even though you don't like it, it's still something, hey, maybe this will make my wife happy. Mm-hmm. Just like it's a lot of things that you say to me, I don't like that. But sometimes I be having to remember that just because I don't like that, or I don't agree with that, doesn't mean I need to push that views off on someone else or on you. Right. You know what I'm saying? And it was like, I was happy that he was able to get with my best friend and put some stuff together. And it was like, that was growth, because it was one of those, like, you didn't have to do that. Mm-hmm. But you knew that's what would make me happy. Mm-hmm. Just like how, we talk about the holidays. I love the holidays. I am a holiday person. I love to decorate the house for Christmas. I love to do all that stuff. But my husband isn't a holiday person, and I always respect it. I don't try to push it off on you. Maybe little stupid stuff, because I became one of those people. Side note, Miss Marie, I don't know if you ever did that, but I became one of those people that I just wanted a picture in the Christmas jammies.
Oh yeah, yeah. Me too.
Yeah, I never was that person.
Okay,
but
I'm still not that person.
He's still not that person. Yeah. I never was, but it was one of those. I wanted, just that. Right. And he was able to just step out of his box. Yeah. And I think that's what everybody is so scared of, is just stepping out of their box. And being able to communicate these things to each other.
And then forget everything else. Forget the standards of it. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm the same way when it comes to these, so-called holidays. Mm-hmm. But for the sake of enjoying the moment.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Having a good time with family. Like F all that other stuff.
You push it to the side.
Yeah.
Listen.
That be the thing is like, and even it's like, because most people, when people say holidays, first off, we mean Christmas. Mm-hmm. Don't pretend like you cherish any other holiday quite anywhere nearly as Christmas. So my thing is like, I enjoyed the sentiment, the sentiment, the energy, all of that. Cool. Yeah. The holiday itself, I'm not really. I'm a fan of the season, not of the holiday.
Right.
If that makes sense. I'm not a big fan of the Christmas, the holiday, but it's like the season, what it does for everybody, the feeling, the vibe that everybody has at the time. Cool. Everybody's more pleasant. Everybody's like a lot more nice. Like, it's such a more pleasant thing. It's like, I get that. That I like. Mm-hmm. But the holiday itself, I don't care less about the holiday.
Yeah. And when he expressed that to me, it was like, I get it. I understand. Listen, and Miss Marie Skip is just like you. My husband is a genius. So it's like when holidays come up, he will break down the history of it. I don't know why we celebrating this, because they did this, and this. Yeah. He will break it down.
A lot of it's meaningless, but that's
yeah. It is like I get it. It's always a learning lesson. You're right. It is meaningless, but you know what? This is how, again, what we're programmed to do. Yeah. All I know is Thanksgiving, you cook a meal, a big meal. Christmas, what you do? Cook a big meal, because that's what I did growing up. So it's like, I don't know anything else. Even now, with Kiera going away to college, I freaked out on her. I was like, you better come home for the holidays. I don't know what I'm going to do without you. It's like, because that's all I know is I need to put a tree up. I need to put some gifts up under these trees and give her a Christmas. But again, it's one of those being open to the view, being open to the other side of someone. Right. And I think a lot of times with people, and I know you've encountered this, is that they don't want to be open to your thought process or your views on things. And Ms. Marie, I'm sure you being in this field, you've encountered it a lot, where you're trying to get your point across and someone just isn't open-minded to it. And I will sit here and say, I know I've been one of those people, and I've also been on the other side. But that's being able to address those things is how you grow in your marriage or relationship, or just in life. I feel like it's like, it's a good point to think about. I think Dante gave a good point. It's like you have to have a lot of hard conversations, right? And I think that's what people are scared to do, is have those hard conversations. My cousin this morning gave me a hard conversation. She was like, I know you don't want to hear this. And it was just like, she was like, because last time I said it to you, you got an attitude. You're right. Because you programmed it. You don't want to hear somebody else tell you you doing some fuck shit. You don't. So we instantly get an attitude. But being able to tell her that, you're right, I did. I got an attitude. I shouldn't have. You were just being concerned as a family member. It was like learning these things. And I think that's what, if things don't change, things don't change. I don't know if that's the case. Is being open to realizing that, hey, you have to be able to change yourself and grow in the marriage and together. It's so many marriages, we've talked about this before, where people just grow apart because they don't want to take the time to have those hard conversations. Listen, marriage ain't perfect. Ms. Marie, I know
people grow up weird because their parents don't want to have those tough conversations. Because we've all, one of the things that the tropes that we've all dealt with as a kid and as a parent is having to give the talk. But it's like, it shouldn't be just the talk
Mm-hmm.
because it's such a growing thing that it's like they gonna learn more and they gonna have more questions and they gonna it go through stuff and they gonna have questions and it's like, hey man, there's gonna be a bunch of talks and it's like to try and boil it all down to just the talk and it's like, man, it's kind of you doing a disservice to your own kids by doing that. Like, it's like, hey, man, you're gonna have to do a bunch of talks.
And you're right. And I admit I was one of those people.
I know.
I was one of those people. When my daughter came to me, I don't know how I can't. I'm not ready for this. I pushed it aside. When she got her period, I had my mom talk to her about it. I was like, oh, I ain't ready for this. Even now with her boyfriend, Miss Marie, met him yesterday.
Yeah.
I know where it's leading to.
Okay, yeah.
I know where it's leading to.
Yeah.
And it was one of those, I called him and he was like, no, you're going to have to talk to her. I'm like, oh my God. Yeah. All right. Yeah. It was that awkward moment in the car and I'm asking her, like, do you have any questions? Do you,
right.
You want to tell me how you feeling beforehand? But it made me nervous.
Yeah. Well, I completely understand. I don't mean to cut you off.
Right.
So my daughter has it's a large clique of them, and some of them, these young girls are lesbians, or so they think.
Mm-hmm.
I say so they think because they haven't
experienced
this life.
Yeah.
They just know what they think they feel for right now until life serves otherwise. Because for me, I'm heterosexual, and I couldn't imagine not liking a man and not knowing what it feels
that experience
like.
of it.
Yeah. Like, I got some sorors that are lesbians. It's like, you've never, ever been with the men. Like, how do you know?
Yeah.
You know that thing. How do you know?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, how do you know?
How do you know?
I mean, some just don't have the desire, though. Like...
Really?
Yeah. Like, sometimes it's just they don't have that desire.
I understand because they said the same thing, but my thing is, like, still yet, how do you know? Because you're dating a girl that looks like a man.
Yes. And me and Kira had that conversation.
Y'all use Pro Tools.
Yeah, it's still not the same.
So,
we actually,
how do you know?
We had that conversation because it started for her in the 8th grade.
Okay.
Where a couple of her friends were lesbian.
Right.
And I had to ask her, I said, do you know what that means? And then, she broke it down. And it was one of those, I talked to her, I said, well, how do you feel? What do you like?
Mm-hmm.
And she was like, oh, no, I like boys. She was like, I think women are pretty, but I like boys.
Mm-hmm.
And I told her, I said, cool. I was like, but please know, if you decide, it's okay.
Yeah.
I am bisexual.
Yeah.
And I remember being, I think it was about 7.
Right.
I was playing house. Because, back then, house was like the big thing to do.
Yeah.
But where I lived at, we ain't had no boys to play house with. So it was just all women. And one of us would pretend to be the man. Okay. And we were playing house. And I remember having an attraction to my friend.
Yeah.
And it was like, because we were playing house, we kissed. Because that's what we saw on TV.
Mm-hmm.
And it was one of those, I had so many questions in my head. But because of that day and age, it's not okay.
Yeah.
So I didn't say anything.
Right.
And I had to tough it out in college and just experience some stuff. But it was one of those, like, I wanted to have that conversation with Kiera because it's like, I always tell her all the time. It's like, I love her boyfriend. I do. We've known him since he was 7. I love him. But I always tell her, hey, you need to experience life.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things my mom told me was, hey, date different guys. So you know what type of guy you want to marry.
Right.
She was like, I don't mean sleep with him. She was like, but date him. And that's what I tell her too. It's like, don't get it wrong, Terrence, you're amazing. But she's going away to college. It's like, I want you to be able to experience life. Right. And these kids are thinking that this is the way to go because they see it on TV. Mm-hmm. And it's like, don't get it twisted. You might actually have that feeling. But I want you to still experience both sides. Mm-hmm. So you can make a solid, sound decision. Mm-hmm.
What's funny is that's something that only really sounds right from a female perspective. That's something that's a very gender heavy type of conversation like that because it's just like you're not gonna have that kind of conversation like that with dudes.
No,
like,
and you're right. It is,
and that's why it's
you're
just
right.
like it's such a to feel that way so vehemently is like you got to pull that back a little bit because it's like if it was a boy, it'd be a
it would
different.
different. You're right. You were so right. It would be a different conversation with boys, and I'm actually excited. My cousin, who I love dearly, I've known him since he was little. He is actually coming on the show in a few weeks, and he is gay.
Mm-hmm.
And it was one of those conversations that I actually want to have with him because it's tough to be gay. It's even tough to be gay and black.
Mm-hmm.
It is so tough, and it's like I don't, with us having Mosiah, our beautiful son, it's like I always think about like what would I do when he comes to me with that conversation. I mean, of course, I'm not going to deny him or nothing. I'm not going to tell him I don't accept him. You do see that.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know what my thought process would be. I definitely want him to live in his truth.
I think it'd be very similar, like no matter which particular way you choose, because it's like you have to handle it the same way.
Yeah.
Either way.
Yeah.
It's just I guess like one way you just have to prepare somebody for that particular type of persecution versus another.
Yeah. I do think I'm against letting these kids change their identity and transition as a kid. Because as a kid, you don't know what you really want to do yet. Listen, and I don't think I would let my son try to transition into a woman yet because it's like, you're not sure.
I just think about this. It's arbitrary other stuff too. Mm-hmm. That it's like, man, they would let a kid make this kind of a great decision, but you still got to be 21 to get a fucking drink. Like,
exactly.
How insane is that? Like,
yeah.
Exactly.
You can be 12 years old and decide that you want to change your gender, but you gotta wait till you're 18 to be able to like vote or something like that. And it's like, what the fuck sense is that?
It doesn't make any sense, and it should be the same all around. It's funny because I had that conversation with Kira because she was like, "When you say I'm 18 and I'm grown," I said, "Let me break it down to you." I said, "You're really not grown till you're 25. Mm-hmm. That's the truth. Because honestly, you got to think about it. You can't rent a car without extra fees for real until you're 25.
Not even 20. I think it's one of those. I think even outside of the age markers for certain things, mm-hmm. I think it's one of those things of like a particular amount of life lived and particular experience that you need to have before you really can consider yourself an adult.
An adult.
Some people absolutely go through that type of shit by the time they're teenagers because like some people have lived that
life kind of life in them. Yes,
like that. They go through all of that fucking young.
Yeah,
it's
that
like
are forced
there
to be an
are
adult.
Those people.
Yes,
but for most people, like you're not getting through the type of lifestyle experience that you need to truly be prepared to be an adult. Till around then anyway.
At least 25. I might
like
even
22 to 25. That's probably like when you are most capable, and I mean like you most able to do anything, and mm-hmm. you most able to be able to like you can handle it. Like mm-hmm. you know what I'm saying? Like you mentally capable and you physically capable, and it's about around the same. Like. And I just mean like because like after that, like once you start getting toward 30 and shit, that's when like your body ain't the same.
I honestly think that's when you become an adult. It's 30. I really think so because I feel like, and this is just me, I feel like in your 20s you're still in that kid mentality mindset. You kicking it, you experimenting with shit. You still confused on where you want to go in life. Mm-hmm. But I feel like when you hit 30. And I remember when I turned 30, I felt like I was having a midlife crisis. Mm-hmm. Because when you turn 30, you start thinking about your life. Mm-hmm. What am I doing with myself? What is going on?
But I mean, that type of thing doesn't stop.
No, it doesn't.
People will say that same thing about 40. People say that same thing about 50. Mm-hmm. That's why it's like, not knowing what you want to do, that doesn't stop. Because people switch and change that kind of stuff all their lives.
Yeah, you're right.
And I think that, and I think it's more so like the parameters of like adulthood or adulting or whatever. It's just like, like that's why I would say like 30 is just like, you should be well into being, you know what I'm saying? Like you are what kind of adult you're going to be. Like, I don't mean like as far as like career wise, I mean like
just in
the
general,
kind of person
the person you want to be. I think I say 30 because I think at 30, you really start to have a different perspective on life. You get more focused. I mean, and that could just it be me, in my opinion. I feel like when I hit 30, it was like, oh, I don't want to go to the bars no more. I don't want to go to the clubs no more. I'm through with all of that.
I had all that at like 25. Like,
yeah, again, it different upbringing. Yeah. So, but it was just me. I don't know. When you turned 30, Miss Marie, did you have that, or you felt like you was at that point before 30?
Well, for me, it was a little different, to be quite honest. Let me think about this 30. So, I was married, so we were still out. We didn't go out as much. Mm-hmm. We did, though. We did stuff like cabarets. I'm not a bar person. Mm-hmm. I'm more like a club person. You know what I'm saying? My husband was more the bar person, so we had to compromise.
Okay, I get it. And then find the happy medium.
Yeah, and you know what? We didn't do it every week even. You know what I'm saying? We didn't go out every week. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But every now and again, if somebody was having something, we do. We still try to even now, but it just don't happen as much.
Yeah, you know? Trust me, I understand. I am so glad
we did more traveling than anything.
And I like to travel. Yeah. I'm so glad that me and, when I met Skip, we're 6 years apart, that he was done with all of that. Because it was like, I've never been a club person. I think clubs are the stupidest thing ever. Yeah. I really do. You telling me that you want to go to this building with a bunch of people in there with loud music playing and overpriced, watered down drinks. Yeah. If I wanted that, I could do that in my room.
It was a good time. I was a club person though, because I didn't go to the regular clubs. You know what I'm saying? Like y'all, what I realized, and this is crazy. Mm-hmm. Y'all don't know about a lot of the big time clubs that's here. Like Club 6 or Platinum or even Paramount.
I'm hip to them. I just
ballers. See, not rumors or all this stuff. Back then, Mirage was known for having celebrities time to time. Mirage on the water. But the Millennium, no,
And see, I don't. I'm on it. I don't know any of that. He was, because his dad was a DJ, he was out in those scenes. For me, it's like I sit around with my friends and they talk about the Mirage. Yeah. And I was one of the people. I'd never been there.
Yeah, see, I did, but that wasn't a normal spot. Like I did because, all of my friends were producer friends and stuff like that,
and see.
So, and I've always been involved in sports. I've always been involved in sports.
I think my experience was just different because just seeing it was more of like a behind the scenes of it all. Like being places DJing or like doing photography or doing videos. It's like you're not in it. Like you are just kind of observing the whole thing. Mm-hmm. Like you were part of it, but it's like you kind of just like watching it all, and it's just like it never looked fun. Like it never looked fun. Like it's one of those. I think that's the crazy thing is like when you go from watching it from beginning to end, it's just like whenever people are in the club, you in the club until you stop it, until you ready to go. Mm-hmm. Man, if you are at a club from before they open to after they close, and you see how all of that shit looks, it's like that shit does not look fun. Like by the end of the night, that shit don't look fun no more. No. Like, and it's like that. It never I think it's just like I was too cerebral of a person to be exposed. I think if I wasn't exposed to it like that much to just be able to watch it for so long, then I probably would have had a different opinion on it. Yeah. But it's like when you watch it and you just seeing a dude just getting rejected by woman after woman, or you seeing it, it's just like it starts to be sad.
It definitely is sad.
Even the dudes that even the dudes that smash and tail out there. The cast that's getting women every time they come to the club. It's like that shit still gets sad because it's just like, my nigga, you just the same dude coming here over and over again.
And it's crazy because
I was fish in a barrel.
No,
bro.
I was that friend that I only went because I didn't want to be left out. I didn't really want to be there because it's like anybody that knows me knows I'm not a dancer. I can dance. It's just I'm not a dancer.
Yeah, Skip don't dance.
I'm not a dancer. And it's like I feel like you want me to come to a place where I gotta pay $20 to get in. To then buy, how much is it? You go get a shot, it's what, $12 for a shot?
The cheapest ones be like $10.
$10? Yeah. You know what I could do with that $10? I probably could have got a 6-pack. or even a bottle, some cheap vodka, a bottle, a little plastic bottle of vodka, a big one, and been cool. It never was my thing, and it's funny because like we went to for my birthday, Miss Marie. We went to, I guess you can call it a bar. It was more of a bar thing,
a lounge, I guess.
A lounge thing,
yeah.
And it was like, even though I was completely wasted, it was one of those, like, in my mind, I'm like, this is why I don't go here. Everybody was crowded around the bar. You can't get a drink. You got
because
people.
No one dances no more. It's
no
like
one
that
dances.
Goody Mob song.
Yeah.
They don't dance no more.
Yeah.
Nobody is because it's so strange how like people do dance, but no one dances like in the way everyone dances to themselves. Nobody like goes to a dance floor and dances. Everyone dances to themselves. So it's like there's no more just going out and dancing out and it's like no, you're gonna be in your little cluster, over to the side, just and you're gonna dance by yourself. Like
just standing there dancing by yourself. It makes you think, well, why am I here? I can dance by myself at home.
Yeah,
I can make this same drink at home. Let me Google it.
Man, right.
You know?
I think that it's like I think I would love to see other music scenes because I'm sure it's better in other places, like places like DC or like Memphis where they have like where they really be about their dancing and stuff. Like they have like really, you know, like they really get into it. It's like I bet that's much more entertaining to go to. Just because of that.
Yeah.
You know, like, because people will actually be out there actively dancing, and it's like, you know, like, they have dances and shit that they do, you know, versus here where it's just like, outside of line dancing, don't nobody dance.
Like, nah, line dance song, come on.
No more.
Everybody, line dance song, come on.
Women gonna fill up the, women will
for
fill
a line
up the dance
dance
for a line dance.
Real hard. But
like,
as soon as that line dance is over.
Yeah,
that's crazy. That's so crazy, because all we used to do is get down on the floor. That's what I come from. Yeah. You know, like.
And you crazy because the only time I actually see that is when I go to a Mason party.
True that.
Because they're all older individuals that's where they came from. They out there hand dancing and everything.
To tie this all back, this goes back to what you're talking about with being fearful of care and the social media and how we was talking about being fearful of dating and shit like that. It's like that fear gets instilled deeper and deeper and deeper, and it's that distrust of everything else to where you don't even want to be around. You want to go to these places still because that's the convention, but you still want to feel safe and enough that you're not going to go near anybody else. Yeah. So it's like we get part of the problem. Yeah, right? We're part of the problem.
Yeah, you are completely correct. Because it's like I know that'd be the first thing I think about. My girls wanted to go to the bar tonight. And as soon as she told me, she was like, "Oh, it's on St. Clair." I was like, at night?
What?
Yeah.
Sorry.
I was cool when you wanted to go to Sam. I was cool when you wanted to go to Sam Silton, Maple, and Southgate.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah, no, that was exactly my reaction. It was like at night, man. They just said somebody got killed outside the club last night. That's the instant. But on the flip side, when we go to a Mason event, it's like I know we around these people, nothing that's gonna happen.
Yeah.
So I'm more wanting to go because like these people ain't on no trash.
Yeah.
That was like the conversation we had where Miss Marie and you were the perfect person to ask. We were talking about how Skip said that back in our era, in your era, the gun and shootings at clubs were still there.
Like it wasn't as prevalent as it is. But it's like I think that it was like definitely you could see how it is,
and that's what I told you.
No, but what I mean is it's something that has already it always escalates. You know, like it wasn't something that was prevalent to where it was just like a rampant thing.
How old do you think I am?
You've told me how old you are before.
Oh, okay.
When did you graduate high school?
91.
Okay, I know exactly how old you are.
Okay.
Yeah.
But what I mean by that is, it's like, oh, it existed, it was there. That's like saying people weren't murdering people and they weren't serial killers back then, you know. But it's like, oh no, like it happened, but it wasn't as prevalent. I think it's just like it's a clear escalation type of thing. Like I understand what you're saying. Like it wasn't that bad back then. I'm not saying it's a 1-to-1. Like it was just as bad. But what I mean is, like, it's a clear escalation. Like, it's one thing leads to the next, to the next, to the next. Like, you say 91, but by the end of the 90s, that's when the whole gangster rap thing had really taken over. That's when all of these dudes started being the tough guys, the thugs and shit like that. Instead of everybody just going looking for a good time, it became niggas being tough. Then in the 2000s, that's when you had the extra hyper aggressive music like Lil Jon, like Bone Crusher, like all of these dudes talking about fucking fighting in the club, and then like that shit went from everybody and always. That was the trope back then.
See, back
that was
then
a trope in the 2000s that it was that the club would always get shut down. It never just closed. It would get shut down because of a fight.
Yeah.
And that was the trope in the mid to mid to late 2000s.
I never witnessed that though, because those are, were times where I was heavy in it. I might have had some, like, a couple of relationships during that time. Me and my husband, we grew up together, so we've been knowing each other since we was like 2 years old. But we didn't get together until 2002.
I mean, all of this stuff is like, these is before I aged into it.
Yeah.
And that's what I mean. It's like, and that's why it's like, no, it doesn't matter, relationship or not. You can observe. You can look at all this stuff. You can look everything up. That's why it's like, I understand his relationship, but like, you can see it.
Yeah, but more than that, though, it just didn't happen in my section of life. Like, that was unheard of.
And that's what I'm saying.
It was rarely heard of during those,
times.
In the 90s. When I was heavy in it.
And that's what I was telling them. I was like, I came in an era where you could go down to the flats.
Yeah.
You ain't even have to.
You're not going through all that fight, motherfuckers drowning and shit.
You ain't have. You could. I remember, and I know my best friend is on. He can relate. I remember being able to go down the flats and just ride around. We didn't get out. Mm-hmm. It was just riding around, or you could go to it, and the only thing you really had to worry about was maybe two girls fighting because somebody bumped into somebody,
right?
Mm-hmm.
Or that. It was like, now you go to these clubs and these kids get into it, and you got to worry about somebody pulling out a gun.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And fighting.
I think
Go ahead. One of the things I was like, my biggest example was, I'll never forget this. I was riding down. You know how you go down the hill to the flats, and you have to turn either East Bank or West Bank. Mm-hmm. I remember it was these dudes that was like 3 cars behind us. Mm-hmm. And they got out their car because they saw us and got in our car. And we chopped it up with them and ended up going to Denny's. Mm. That's how that day and age was. Let that shit happen now.
Yeah, that part.
Let somebody hop in your car. You about to freak the fuck out. Oh my God.
No, I think this is, just to clarify, I think that this is the disconnect that we having in this conversation. You talking from a point of your own personal experiences and your own personal, like, what you saw and observed. And you too, Marie, is like, that I'm not talking from that type of perspective. I'm talking about from just a completely objective, like, taking myself out of the equation. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm not talking about my own personal opinions, this is just straight observation. And it's just like, oh no, like, in the early 90s, people were a lot more, like, I ain't gonna say tranquil, but it's just like, it wasn't, the music scene wasn't as violent as it was later on.
Right.
Then in the late 90s, after Pac and Biggie died and everything became extremely like gangster, then it's like, it became like, then dudes had to be that kind of person.
It started in the late 80s though.
It did. Yeah. It did. Because it started, honestly, it started with Ice-T and all them motherfuckers.
Yeah, NWA.
Like, it started. But I mean, like, as far as like widespread, like, after Pac and Biggie died, there was a vacuum where everybody wanted to be that dude. That's like in the 60s when the Black Panther Party went down and all the dudes died. There was a vacuum, and then everybody became the super extra conscious like black person because everybody wanted to be that dude.
Person.
Right.
So when the gangsters died, that everybody put at the top, everybody wanted to be that dude.
Right.
So then it created a whole hyper violence. To where it's like in the 2000s, mid to late 2000s, you had all them extreme knuck if you buck shit like that. Where it's just, and it escalates, but it always escalates. So it's like after that, then you have people. Then it's like guns coming to the mix because like everybody can't fight like that. And I don't give a fuck how tough you is. It's like, man, like everybody can't fight like that.
No, you're right.
Everybody got into the mix, and then it's like now it's just like people gun first before anything else.
I think what the change is guns got way more accessible, way more. It's easier to get a gun. Totally. It's so much easier to get a gun than it was back in the day.
Yeah,
and it's like whereas back in the day.
That I don't know, because like it's the same rules.
I beg to differ on the gun thing. You know why? Yeah. Because Canton used to have them damn gun shows.
They used to have them here
every 3 months, and you can go there as long as you was 18 or over. They didn't even run your shit.
Wow.
Okay? As long as you was 18 or over, you can sign the paper, that yellow form, right? Sign that yellow form and get you a gun.
Guns, the difference is,
and then over there, and Mesopotamia, Ohio. I used to call it mashed potatoes. I'm gonna be ignorant.
Where is Mesopotamia?
It's over there off of 322. What's over there? Rome, Ohio, Orwell, Ohio, Windsor.
Okay.
So Windsor, where Mike Tyson's camp used to be, all that stuff.
Okay.
Brookfield or Middlebrook, all that
so
stuff.
So like more, what is that?
Warren, Ohio, by Warren and Youngstown.
Okay.
Kid, because I went to Kid Trumbull over there, Champion, Ohio, all that stuff.
Yeah. This is the real difference. Back then, guns weren't a culture. Guns are a culture now. Guns are cool.
That's a great way to say it.
Gun nuts were weirdos on the edge of, and out in the fucking stick somewhere.
Yeah.
Now every other dude is a gun nut, and it's a culture now.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
It's like,
okay. I like how
that's
saying it. Yeah, I definitely do. So as I look at it, we're gonna wrap things up. I'm excited about next week.
Yeah.
Because as y'all saw.
Yeah.
I got a co-host.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to say nothing about it, but I am so excited for you to meet my co-host. I'm so excited for the new segment that is going to take place.
Yes.
Because new show, new day, new time, new ideas. So branching out and growing.
Mm-hmm.
I am so excited for next week.
Yeah.
Then after next week, I have my special guest, my best friend, who's been very active today on our video.
That's what's up.
I appreciate you. And he said, great show. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
He will be on in 2 weeks, and I'm excited to have him on because he's got some things he want to get off his chest about fathers.
Okay.
Divorces and things like that. And sometimes
nice.
I'm excited because I'm also having to show, as growth in life, I'm also having my child's father's first baby mom on the same show. I wanted another woman to be here.
Oh, damn.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Because it's his topics are hard hitting.
Yeah.
And I'm excited to have this conversation with everybody. And I wanted another woman here who has been the same situation as me.
For sure.
To be able to give the woman's side, our opinion on it.
Oh, I'm sorry.
But I definitely, I don't want to take away from his topics and how he feels. And I want you to be able to chime in too. Because I want you guys to be able to say how you feel. And I'm excited to bring him on to talk about how he felt on his perspective as a man in a divorce.
Okay.
Because I watched him go through that divorce. And she took a house that was in his name.
Woo!
His name. Because I was there when he was getting the house. I told him, I said, in case the marriage don't work out, put this house in your name.
Yeah.
And when they went through a divorce, what happened? The police came and they said, oh, you got to go.
What?
But I'm going to let him tell his story. Because it's a story.
Ew,
it's a story.
Girl, you mean we got to have wine in the morning?
Yes, we going to have wine. We going to bring some glasses. Cause
I got them already.
There we go. We gonna bring some.
Because
like the tagline said, we gonna pop some bottles for you.
Yeah.
Because like the tagline says, I want you to be able to come. I want you to sit. I want you to talk. I want you to sip, and I want you to get intimate.
Yes.
So I cannot wait for these next couple weeks. I'm excited.
Ooh, wait.
I am ready.
Let me see who I can help y'all add to the mix.
Yes, I am ready.
Ooh.
And we're going to have some fun.
Ooh.
In this new segment, ooh,
okay.
Miss Marie already know. We going to love this new segment. I cannot wait.
Yeah.
So thank you guys for tuning in for the first episode. Thank you.
Be on the lookout for the Intimacy Lounge Facebook page, right?
Yeah,
right.
It's the Intimacy Lounge Facebook page. The Intimacy
Lounge
IG.
Yeah.
TikTok.
Yeah.
Y'all better come watch me on TikTok because I'm crazy. I'm so pumped. My thing got 18,000 views.
Yeah.
Or 1,800 views.
Yeah.
And then my bubble busted.
12K.
Yeah, my bubble busted because then I went to my daughter page and like one of her posts had like 10K and I was forget her. But that's okay. We gonna get there. So you check us out on IG, on Facebook, on TikTok, YouTube us, on No Static Radio. You can watch a replay of this amazing show on there on YouTube. A website is coming soon. We branching out, y'all. We are branching out, and I'm so excited. Thank you. Episode 1.
Mm-hmm.
It is new beginnings, and I love it. So I will see you guys next week. Saturdays, yes, from 11 to 1. Remember to... What's your little slang? Watch, like,
subscribe.
Yeah, absolutely.
Whoop your kids.
like, watch.
Pay your bills.
Pay your bills. Bring me a
Wash
drink.
Your ass.
Wash your ass. Like, watch, share, subscribe, comment, call me. You want to be a guest?
Don't call me.
Call him too.
Don't call me.
Want to be a guest?
Call me, goddammit.
Inbox and make sure you go get some views to No Static Radio. All right, you guys. I will see you next week. This is Kiana and Skip in the Intimacy Lounge. Bye.
Peace.
I was like, I don't even know how to finish this.
Where did it go? Thank you. Jeez.
When Facebook started doing that? It says schedule your next live. When y'all started doing that?
Okay, so I'ma see. He might be on the radio contract. Hold on, let me close out. Y'all tell them bye, y'all.
Bye. Y'all make sure to check us out.
Me too.
It's actually not good here. Not good either. She took the idea and was like, just take me to it. She was like,